What's up, guys? So here's another video in my bass collection series, I guess. We are getting near the end here, but today I'm going to talk about my Hadean UBass, or bass ukulele. Isn't it so tiny? So, some quick specs, because this bass, there's not a lot to it, and there's more stories than actual like hardware specs on it. So this is made of walnut, and it is essentially stock, with the exception of about 4 things ish. I always like to add like a little pick holder right here for these kind of instruments. Just if you want to pick, just grab one, you don't have to fumble around. I put a Planet Waves tuner right here. It has a tuner on it, but I'll explain why I have this in a second. And if you've ever seen a UBass, you know that they, 99% of the time I'd say, probably, they come with those big fat rubber strings, kind of mimic a upright bass sound. Not entirely sure why that became the norm for these things, but I went with some Kala. I don't remember the gauge set, but they only make one, so whatever that is, that is. These are round wound strings. They have a nylon core as well, so they're pretty flexible, which is nice, really easy to play. And then because of that, I also replaced the nut here to make it so these fit better. The other ones had real wide slots. So, yeah, I'll go over the tuner in a second, but one of the cool things about this bass is that, unlike some miniature basses and stuff like that, something like Wing Bass or Mayonis makes a miniature bass as well. Those basses are essentially piccolo tuning, which is a normal bass tuned up an octave, or capoed on the 12th fret, which is basically the same as tuning as a guitar. So I'm not sure why you would need something like that. This bass, because of the thickness of the strings and everything, is actually the same pitch as a normal full-scale 34-inch 4-string bass. So when you play on this thing, you're essentially getting the same sounds as you would something else. So it makes an amazing practice tool, which is one of the big reasons why I own a UBass. So this bass probably cost me about $100, $120, and then I bought like a $30 gig bag for it. So for $150, you get the perfect practice instrument, and it's not something gimmicky either. You can actually use this, and it's functional. I mean, so plus these round wound strings, you get more projection. It basically sounds like an acoustic bass, and you get definition, and it's great. So let's see here. What else can I say about this thing before I go into story time? Well, I guess what I can do is talk about this crazy tuner. So this is an acoustic electric. Sounds pretty good plugged in. You can get away with some passable bass tones. It's got a 3-band EQ, bass, middle, and treble, and it's got a tuner on it. Now, the reason I have 2 tuners on this thing is, for some reason, UBasses in general, after talking to Kala, who is like the main, I guess, manufacturer of UBasses, that for some reason their tuners don't register sharps and flats. I have a very hard time understanding that. I was going to upgrade this at some point, and I realized that I probably didn't need to, because there's not a whole lot of difference between this and maybe something like a $300-400 UBass from Kala, you know? So yeah, it's really strange. So I guess you don't really need to do sharps and flats, but I wanted the ability to, and just in case, so I bought this extra clip-on tuner from Planet Waves as well. You know, just as an extra tuner, I guess. I don't know. It's a very strange, weird thing. I was trying to understand why, and I couldn't get a real straight answer. So, yeah, so that's that. This little Wingo capo as well. Inexpensive, not cheap, because I've had this for probably about 3 years, and it works perfect on this thing. It's great. So, going to story time, because there's some good sentimental stories about this thing that make it really special to me. So I've had it for about 2 years now, and the main reason I got it was I really wanted an instrument that I could essentially play on my lunch break. I used to work at a job that I used to eat lunch in my car every day, and I essentially just wanted to get my fingers on some strings. I feel like I wasn't playing enough at home, and I really just wanted to keep my calluses up, so just having like just something to play kind of whenever you wanted to. So that was really the reason I bought one of these. I was just looking for some kind of practice instrument, and I wanted the cheapest thing I could find because it was something I planned on just keeping in my car. And, you know, North Carolina summers and winters, and it, you know, where I am right now, it was 75 degrees a day ago, and then the next day it snowed. So crazy temperature changes, and I didn't really care. I just wanted something. This no longer lives in my car. It lives in my music room, but I do take it with me. This is my travel base now. I take it with me if I'm going to go and hang out somewhere. You know, if I'm going to go sit in my car somewhere for a little bit, or, you know, take this on vacation or something, this is usually the instrument I have. So, now, what makes this so special to me and why I've kept it for so long, even after, you know, I don't play it on my lunch breaks anymore, is that about a week after I got this bass, so yeah, it's coming up on 2 years. So about a week after I got this, I had to have an emergency appendectomy, which is where they take your appendix out, and I was bedridden for probably 3 weeks. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't really get up or do anything. And my doctor told me that I was not allowed to lift anything over 5 pounds. So no bass playing, which sucked. And what I really wanted to do was just play bass. And, you know, being stuck at home for that long, you couldn't do anything. About a day after my surgery, I remembered that I had this. So I went and got it, and this essentially lived in my bed with me for the remaining, you know, 2.5 weeks. Just plunking away on it and learning some songs, writing some riffs. I wrote a song. Well, I wrote a few riffs that eventually turned into a song called Depression. So I eventually made that into a full acoustic song. But that was written on this. I wrote a whole lot of cool things on this thing. And I wasn't allowed to pick anything up over 5 pounds, and this bass weighs 4 pounds. So we counted it. It works. So, but yeah, that's, there's not a whole lot to say about it. I think that this is the perfect instrument if you are a bass player and you just want something inexpensive to plunk around on. This is a great beginner instrument for like a child, somebody with really small, you know, hands. It is a great instrument. It's insulated pretty well for a $120 instrument. Definitely get away with it. And I mean, it has a truss rod adjust, so you can adjust it, and for the cost, it was very well made. I will say that. I've had it for 2 years. It's served me well, and if you are really looking at a bass to travel with, to, you know, bring with you wherever you want, to go sit and hang out in the car, just kind of mess around on it. learn some scales or something. Doesn't really get much better than this thing. So if you ever get a chance, I highly recommend trying it out. And don't forget, switch to round wound strings.